let's talk about strategic hiring. Say you want to build a product and you're going to start building it in a week or two from now. There's not enough time to hire an entire team in 2 weeks. Even less if you're starting to build a product now. There's just no time. To hire just one person, you potentially need 2 weeks of gathering all the contacts and then a week of full-time work, interviewing everybody, and then an extra week if you want to have a second round with one of them and making a decision. And that's a very, very constrained timeline. If you have to hire a team of maybe 2 developers and 1 designer and 1 product owner, you will spend 2 months or maybe more. So in general, what many companies do is they start hiring the team, overseeing that they will need them eventually in the future. And sometimes you stuck with the resource for 4 months, 5, 6 months until you actually need that resource. And what happens often is if you have a programmer or a designer that's not doing anything for 4 months, you start thinking that maybe that's not a right decision, and there are many errors that you can do from there. One of those is you start giving tasks to do just for have them do something. And in general, those are not necessary tasks or are not aligned with the goal of the project. When you start a project, you want to make it good and finish it fast as possible. To have a good timeline, you need to first plan the timeline. But prior to that, you need to plan the product, how the product is going to look. And there's a shady part, which is when a startup is thinking about the product, many times you don't know exactly what the features are going to be like. Disguised in that idea, you go making up features on the fly and deciding features out of a hunch and things like that. But the idea is that if you don't know what the features are going to be like, that's fine. But you need to plan how you are going to find out, and also plan for the milestones when you're going to decide what features you are going to go with. For example, you can say, okay, we don't know if we're going to have, say, an editor for this tool that we're building, and we don't know how the editor is going to look like, if we are going to allow users to upload images. You need to list out everything that you're going to test out or ask the users if they need, or a method for you to find out, a scientific method for you to find out. And you need to have that planned out. If you don't have that planned out, there's a chance that you may switch directions on the fly. And for some people, that's good because they have all the things on their mind. But for most of us, that's not the right way to do things, because the memory is not something we can rely on. It's best to have things written down. So that's kind of what strategic hiring is and how it becomes a complex thing when there's a lack of planning on a startup. So startups are very messy by nature, and that's good, but you need to have some sort of plan on the way. You want to lock the resources that you're going to need. That's for sure. At the same time, you don't want to spend extra money by having them not do anything for 4-6 months. Before sharing the conclusion that I want to share in this video, there's one detail that I want to explain as well. When you hire somebody, say a programmer, first you're going to start using his mindset or her mindset to plan the product, just to kind of architect how the application is going to be, how the features are going to interact and are going to be deployed, everything related to the tech stack, everything. That's architecture, that's planning. But as the time goes by, that same human resource, that same programmer is going to start doing other tasks. It's going to start implementing what was previously thought out, what was previously architected and designed. So this implementer person doesn't require as many skills, like as much experience and a savvy mindset to just implement, because at first, yes, you need like a very experienced person to understand how things are going to work together, but then implementing things are way easier, and there's no need to have these 2 tasks done by the same person. You can have someone that's very experienced designing things and then hire somebody that's not as expensive to implement those. And at the same time, you can have multiple persons implementing things and just one or a few designing. So one of the conclusions that I have for this is that you can hire very experienced and potentially expensive engineers at first by the hour. Just a couple of hours until you round up the ideas and plan out everything related to the architecture, the technology, and everything. And then when you have that planned out with some documentation, you can hire others that are going to implement that. This comes together with many benefits. One of those is that you're not going to be tied long term with a single person, single resource. You don't know really how things are going to go in the future, so it's better to just be safe and be sure. And if you end up wanting to hire them full time, you can do that. But at first, if you have them just for a few hours a week, you can use that to plan out. Another benefit is that you're not going to be paying for time that is not well spent, and you're not going to be suffering of this feeling that the person is being paid and not actually doing anything during the week. And finally, just to make it clear, somebody that implements what was previously designed, it comes way less expensive than having the same architect to implement the things down the road. So that's a very good thing to happen, and it makes the startup more sustainable. I am Daniel Nuske. I have been working for startups for more than 17 years, and here in this series of videos, I'm sharing all the experience that I have on how to build a successful product from the engineering perspective. And if you want to work with me, you can go to danielnuske.com and book a free consultation.